Every so often, we come across a story that really inspires and encourages those of us here at TPN Philadelphia. And today we're going to be talking about one of these stories. It's a story of second chances, a story of redemption, really. It's a story of people who see worth in something that a lot of people would look at and see worth less. We're joined today by Enrique Josephs from the Glen Middle School, and he's going to tell us about what the Glen Middle School is and about one very extraordinary program that they are running with their students. Enrique, welcome to Joy in Our Town.
Thank you, Kelly.
So can you give us a little bit of background about what the Glen Middle School is for our viewers who may not be familiar with it?
Well, the Glen Middle Schools is the oldest school of its kind in the United States and quite possibly in the world. We were founded in 1826 as the Philadelphia House of Refuge. We moved to our present location in Delaware County in 1889, and we've been continuously running ever since.
Wow. We
just celebrated our 190th anniversary on October 13th, and we held a all-day gala with guests from all over the country and former students and so forth. It was a wonderful celebration.
190 years, that's awesome for any institution. But
yes.
What I understand is the Glen Middle Schools is a reform school. Can you tell us what exactly that means?
Glen Middle Schools was founded in 1826 as, like I said, the Philadelphia House of Refuge, where there was reform movement by the Quakers, and they were taking young people, juveniles, out of prisons with adults and so forth. There were debtors' prisons and things like that.
Okay.
So it was a reform movement, and in 1889, they said, look, let's get them out of the city. Let's find a location in the country, and they found about 800 acres in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. And what our mission has been is to provide services to youth. We provide academics, career technical. We work on changing behaviors, counseling, leadership development, athletics. All those things are done at our campus at Glen Middle Schools.
Now, this isn't a traditional school in the sense that, as a parent, I might say, oh, that looks like a cool program. I want to send my child there. How do the students actually end up at the Glen Middle School?
All of the young people that are at Glen Mills are referred through the court systems or social service agencies, either through family court or through children and youth agencies, those types of things. So they're all coming through the system for some reason, whether it's a delinquent petition or a dependent petition.
Now, with that kind of student body, if you will, there have to be a lot of misconceptions that people have about the school and then also the students. Can you address that? Maybe what some of those misconceptions might be, and then what you found to be true?
Well, I think a lot of people believe that these young people are kind of throwaways, that they don't deserve opportunities. We look at ourselves as a private school. We'd like to be as like any private prep school. That's how we run Glen Mills. So our students are granted a lot of opportunities. They're given opportunities to grow academically, career technically. They're granted opportunities to grow socially, to become members of a student government. They're granted opportunities to participate in interscholastic sports with regular high schools. So they're given a lot of opportunities at Glen Mills. Our executive director, Dr. Randy Ireson, always talks about the 3 C's. And the 3 C's are character, which is changing behavior. Character is what you do when nobody else is looking, He talks about competencies, and we offer so many different types of programs, whether it's evidence-based programs, 25 career technical programs, athletics. So competencies are all those learning experiences that our young people can have. And then when they're ready to leave, we want to make sure they have the confidence to go out and tackle the world, to be able to do anything that they set their minds to. we actually formulated a alumni association, which was something that one of our board members, a gentleman by the name of Frank Davis, has asked to do for quite a while. And now we have what's called Bulls for Life. And these are alumni who come back to Glen Mills and they speak to our students. They speak truth. They're able to tell them about their experiences. They were there, what they went through, how they changed their lives. They donate to the school, and they also donate their time and their experience to our students. Our oldest member is 91 years old. He recently returned for our celebration, our 190th, and Mr. Meredith is really amazing. Went to the military. He brought his daughter and his wife back, and this 91-year-old gentleman could walk. He is in great shape. He is spry.
Sounds like you have that confidence.
Oh, it is definitely has that confidence. It was he is definitely a great role model for our students.
They're all there by court order, essentially, but it sounds like you have what really amounts to being an identical structure to many of these prep schools.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people might be surprised that a place where people are being sent, instead of going to prison, is going to offer so much freedom and so much opportunity to these young men.
Well, one of the true reasons why we're able to do this is what we call a normative environment. So a normative environment has very high expectations of our young people. The one thing we realize is that especially young boys, they want limits. They want structure. So we set up an environment where there's high expectations for both our students and our staff. You treat each other with respect. Nobody has a right to hurt another person. A Glen Mills student is always a gentleman. You value the classroom and what you can get out of the classroom. So these are all high expectations. If you were to walk on my campus, on our campus, you would think that you're at an elite private prep school. The students welcome you, they wave, they're polite, they have very high expectations of what they can do, and they take off and really adhere to that.
Do you ever have students that when they show up, they just don't want to participate in the process?
I'm not saying, Kelly, that when students first get there, they want to be home. I mean, they're coming from all over the country and other countries also. So, number one, everybody wants to be home. They don't want to be necessarily sent to a place where they don't have the ability just to leave and do what they want to do. Glen Mills has norms. Norms are expected behaviors. The reason why norms work so well is because their peers also adhere to the norms, and they help the new students when they come in. They become big brothers, so to speak, and they take them under their wings. They explain the program. They actually move around the campus with them and things like that. I'm definitely not saying that when students first come in, a lot of them don't want to be there, but they buy in after a while. They realize that what we're trying to do is get them ready for the future. What we're trying to do is affect change in their lives. It
sounds like you're also giving them essentially mentoring opportunities, because as they're growing and as they are taking on more responsibility, they're able to then help the ones who are coming in.
There's no doubt. Part of it is, it's all about service to each other. As a Christian, I believe that service, what we do is we serve each other, and that's what our students also do. We went to Detroit for a meeting back in March and April, and we met a former student who was a sophomore in college. He came in and he started to share with the attendees about his experiences at Glen Mills. And we kind of just sat back and let him do the entire presentation, because what he talked about was what he learned from Glen Mills is how to serve others. And he actually then pointed out to some of the attendees, I know you because I work at a restaurant close by, and I remember serving you at the restaurant. And it blew everybody away. But he talked about that when he first came back, he was struggling a little bit, but he picked up the phone and called his counselor at Glen Mills. Then he started speaking to his counselor every day. and this is after he's gone, and just to get encouraged. And then they would do kind of like conference calls with other students to encourage each other. So yes, it's all about service, helping each other.
Helping each other. Wow. And it sounds like it continues. So it's a relationship. It's
Yes.
not just you're here for your
Exactly.
time.
It is a relationship.
It goes on.
Yes.
Obviously, this is a successful program. Can you talk a little bit about, how many students does this really stick with, and how many of them really have those opportunities, as they're going to college and as they're finding jobs and using the skills that they're being taught? Is that a majority of students that are coming out of the school?
Well, we find that our outcomes speak of approximately 66% success rate. So 2 out of 3 of our youth are going on and doing all the things they need to do. So that's what we're building on. We're trying to always increase that success rate. But yes, about 66% of our students
But that's
are successful.
2 out of 3 lives that you've managed to take, and instead of them ending up, on the streets or in prison,
Yes.
you've basically given them a future.
They have opportunities. That's the thing. The one thing about Glen Mills that's unique is that we have so many different programs. So if I'm good at working with my hands, I can get involved in career technical programs, small engines repair. I can learn landscaping. I can learn things that I can work with my hands. If I'm more technical, I might get involved in optics, or more of a technical, I can work with as a dental assistant, those types of things. So our students have 25 different choices of career technical programs they can get involved in.
Do you find that helps them because they're not, in a traditional school setting, and in a lot of cases where there's too many kids in the classroom, whatever the case may be, someone who needs those boundaries might get overlooked, but offering them something that taps into who they are, does that make a difference?
Most
in their
definitely. I believe that if of an attitude of gratitude. So if you find something that you really enjoy doing, you're going to probably have more of a stick-to-it nature to that. So our students have those abilities, those opportunities to find something that might be just their niche, kind of their wheelhouse, to enable them to succeed.
Now, you said, over 2/3 of these students are succeeding. When it comes to the school itself, do you find that people are aware of the reputation, if you're a future employer? And are they going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, he was in a reform school, or are they going to look at it and say, oh, he was at the Glen Mills School?
Well, we have a rich history of being able to send our students to college, go on to college, to be able to place in job opportunities, those types of things. I think more than anything else, they may not realize what we are in terms of if folks are saying that it's a reform school. We don't look at ourselves as a reform school. We have people that are visiting us every day, whether it's college, university classes, and we have a lot of connections with different schools where the juvenile justice students will come and visit every year and kind of see a different type of model, the model that Glen Mills has.
Okay, now one of the programs that's very specific to the Glen Mills School, this is such an exciting program that you guys have, and we have a rolling clip to introduce this program to our viewers. Can you tell us a little bit of background about what this program is with the USGA?
Well, about 16 years ago, Glen Mills Schools, through the vision of one of our board members, Mr. Ron Pilot, convinced our executive director at that time to build a golf course. And we built a golf course on our property, and the golf course is actually our largest career technical program. We have about 30 students that are involved in work study at the golf course, and there are 4 different trades that they can, career technical paths at the golf course. There is small engines repair, so they can work on the equipment. There's turf management. There is golf course management, and then there is our clubhouse where our students work with the general public, those types of things. So the vision of Mr. Pilot, 16 years later, our students are able to learn a trade that they can then take to any place that around the country, golf is a very popular industry. We have placed about 60 students in golf-related positions over that time, and our students are constantly learning new things. And we were fortunate enough, this year, 2016, is our year of giving back, so to speak. So our students and staff volunteered at the USGA Women's Amateur Championship. And our students had a great opportunity to actually work on a golf course along with our staff to see what it's like to put on a major tournament. And the folks at the USGA saw these young men, saw their enthusiasm, their work ethic, and they decided to create a video on them. And that's what we're going to see now.
Isn't that fun? That's pretty awesome. We'll
Yes.
take a look at this and we'll be right back.
Discipline, a trait superintendents look for in the workers who take care of their golf course. Some have it, others have to learn it. It just so happens that at this golf course, that lesson means more than a perfectly manicured fairway or a finely raked bunker. This is the grounds crew that maintains the golf course at Glen Mills, and they're here because juvenile court is giving them one last chance, a chance to show they deserve to be part of our society. Glen Mills Schools is the oldest operating reform school in the country. Opened since 1826, young men classified as delinquents have come to this quaint campus on the outskirts of Philadelphia, and what they're offered is one last shot at a normal life.
One of my former students had a great line. He said, "I was always told I had potential. I didn't know what potential was." And that's probably one of the greatest things at Glen Mills is that our base foundation is the belief that these youngsters have inherent potential and talent. It's on this campus and this program that we have an opportunity to get them to believe in it and to bring it out and now change where they thought they were going to be that first day to where now I can be. They kind of put the past behind and now start to look at the future.
The golf course opened in 2000 and is maintained primarily by the students from the school just down the road. Teenagers, most who have never had a job, are given more responsibility their first day at Glen Mills than they've ever had in their lives.
My first day I started out mowing greens with the walk behind mower, and it was like at first I didn't know how to use the machine, so now it's like all these other machines are just coming like easier to me, knowing that the staff up here explains it good and then they go in details of how you could use it, like when to use the machines and all that.
In the beginning, yes, it was intimidating. I had to kind of slow my machine down and we were always behind, but as like the weeks and months came by, I slowly started going faster. The machines, some of them are different. You have to work with them, and the triplexes, those are everyone's favorite because you get to sit down and you're driving by yourself pretty much all day.
It's all part of the curriculum here at Glen Mills, a course that has been ranked in the top 100 public courses in the country. It's trial by fire, and something amazing happens when these young men are trusted with something so precious. They succeed.
Well, you see them take pride in themselves. You see them start, their personality start to blossom. And then when they become upperclassmen and they learn to run all the equipment, they are as skilled as many of the part-time staff we have working in the summer.
When they first start, it's like a foreign language to them. The majority of our kids is from the inner cities. Half of them never stepped foot on a golf course before. So when we basically walk them through the machines, train them how to use the machines, and then they finally get it, they love it. Because they feel as though that this is a new skill that they're learning. We also let them know that we're going to try to find your jobs out in the real world once you get discharged on a golf course so you could use your skills. So once we tell them that, they're all in.
150 students each year will work on John Vogel's staff, a fresh face on the ground seemingly every day. Those who have been here for a while take ownership of the course and take pride in their work. They mentor the new kids step by step, and one day the student will become the teacher. A natural order is established, along the way teaching values as important as any skill they learn while they're here.
So, like being a role model, I think of it like a role model. I'm helping another person because I was at the same stage when I came in, and I get to help him now.
Working here is like, it got me like ready for the real world, like being an adult and all that, because I got to wake up, take responsibility, getting up, and keep moving along my day, schoolwork, and everything afterwards.
I'm just glad that they actually show me how to do the things I can do, so now when I go home, I can just be able to work at a golf course, do something, but not have to worry about trying to get myself back in the same predicaments that I was trying to do.
66% of the students who work on the course will never have trouble with the law again. About a quarter of them will go into a career in golf course maintenance. When they set foot on this golf course, a door is opened that previously didn't exist, and they're given a pathway out.
There's no telling where I would be at without Glen Middle Schools and the golf course. I was in the middle of everything, you know what I mean? Got away from that environment, started realizing that I'm growing as a man and I need to start doing more productive stuff. So, yes, it's actually, Glen Mills probably saved my life.
That really is such a, I mean, I'm so inspired right now just watching this video. But, you know, early on in that video, the president of the school, I believe, the headmaster,
Yes, our executive director,
your executive
Dr.
director.
Ireson, yes.
He said that one of those boys said that he didn't know that he had potential.
Yes.
How inspiring is it for you? How, you know, just life-changing is it for them that they're being told that they do matter, that they do have potential, that there is something that these young men can do that isn't get in trouble with the law?
No, it's life-changing because a lot of our young people have been told throughout their lives that they'll never amount to anything. What our belief is there's no such thing as a bad boy. They may have done bad things, but when put in the right environment, they can grow, they can flourish, they can learn. When given enough opportunities in terms of finding your potential in some field, they can grow and they can do great things.
That one young man, you know, there was such pride in his voice, such happiness, really, when he was saying, I'm a role model for someone now. Do you think that they ever thought that they would be in that position?
Well, a lot of our young men don't think that. You know, there's something that we subscribe to, and it's peer group pressure. So when you're in the community, when you're with your boys on the corner, you're going to adhere to negative peer group pressure. At Glen Mills, we take peer group pressure, we turn it into a positive thing, where students are encouraging each other to accomplish. They're applauding each other when they become a member of our Bulls Club, our student government, when they earn their GED, their high school diploma. So we can all learn something from peer group pressure. It can either be negative or it can be positive. And what we stress is that positive peer group pressure to try to change behavior.
Now, as we sat here, you mentioned that you knew, I mean, you know some of these young men. They're fascinating in the little clip there, and it's awesome to hear their story. But for you, they're real people, and
yes.
You're constantly dealing with these young men. What is it like for you when you see one of them go on to success and go on to college and to have a family and a good career?
Well, I follow probably about 30 of my former students that I've coached or known on Facebook. That's the great thing about social media, and I can see they're growing, their children, and all the things that they're going through in life, and I'm constantly sending them messages about, you know, congratulations on your son graduating, et cetera, et cetera. So it's you know, our worth in life is helping others. You know, I really believe that we're here for something besides just living. We're here to help someone. And seeing that is probably what it's all about for me and for a lot of the staff at Glen Mills. I've been at Glen Mills for 35 years. Many of our staff have been at Glen Mills their entire career, and we've been doing nothing but trying to help these young men change their lives.
That's extraordinary. Now, they mentioned in that clip that some of these young men have never done a day of work in their life. They've never had a job, and then you give them responsibility right off the bat. But from what I understand, some of them are taking that responsibility and they're absolutely running with it. And you have a young man who, you know, they're basically getting really prestigious jobs.
Yes.
As a result.
Well, actually, one of the young men in the clip has actually earned an internship at Marion Country Club, prestigious golf course. So prayerfully in March, he'll start working at Marion and then move on to Penn State to study agronomy and hopefully someday become a superintendent of a golf course.
Now, this is one of the really most prestigious golf courses, maybe in the world, if not in the country.
Yes.
And what you've just done is you've taken a young man who would otherwise be in prison, correct?
Well, would otherwise may not have that type of opportunity. Most definitely, yes.
Is that something that you can wrap your head around on a regular basis? That you're really genuinely changing lives?
Oh, yeah, I can wrap my head around because we've been doing it for a long time. Glen Mills has been doing it for 190 years, so it's an expectation that we have. And I'm not saying that we can get those results out of every student, but every student has worth, every student has potential, and every student can grow, whether you're working, a 9-to-5 job or you're a superintendent on a golf course somewhere. Yes, you have worth.
One of our viewers may be watching, and they may know somebody who's in a tough situation. And obviously, this isn't the kind of school you can just apply to. Is there a way that, you know, a parent or grandparent or a guardian, somebody can bring this to the attention of the court
Yes.
if there
Yes.
is a need, and they can get in touch with the school?
We get phone calls and emails all the time regarding how can I get my son involved in the system and involved in Glen Mills. And number one, you need to talk to your the probation officer or the social service worker, and you need to ask, is there a way that he can be referred to Glen Mills schools? We have staff members all over the country who can then interview the parent and the student and then represent the school and then bring them out to Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Well, Enrique, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. I'm so encouraged and inspired by what you guys are doing at the Glen Mills School, and we really appreciate you, sharing with us and being willing to come in and encourage all of our viewers as well.
Thank you very much. And they can go to our website, glenmillschools.org, and get more information on the school.
Okay, awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed that and that you were encouraged and as inspired as we were. And we'll see you next time on Joy in Our Town.